Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. I hope you guys can see me and hear me okay. Let me know if you can see me and hear me all right. I want to say good morning to everybody. I am headed to the airport. We are headed out to Arizona today, about to handle some family business and whatnot. And I thought that I would chime in and talk about something that I just saw in the media that I think could use some perspective. As you guys know, this is drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. So if you're not intelligent black, you may want to get the fuck out, because we're not here to have stupid conversations. We're here to have smart conversations. Now, here's the thing. You guys know that I like to look beneath the surface and try to break things down in a specific way. It's just kind of what I do, and as a mathematician, I like to see if 2 + 2 = 4. And when somebody tries to tell me 2 + 2 = 186, I'm about to call you on that bullshit. Now, before I begin, I'd like to ask you guys real quick. First of all, good morning to everybody who's watching. I want to ask you, can you hear me and can you see me? Give me a yes, or maybe yell Black Power in the chat if you can hear me and you can see me. So let me know. Can you guys hear me and see me? I'll wait until I get that confirmation and then we'll move forward. Okay. All right. I see DDS and Vic and Shaniqua and Ida and Kareem and Amanda, D-Love, okay, Miss Time Candle, okay, Felicia, I see you in there. I see all of you. And feel free to shout out your city also. Shout out your city. And last but not least, please hit the thumbs up button and the notification bell if you haven't done that. That way you'll be notified. And also the thumbs up button is very important because it brings more people into the chat. So on the count of 3, if everybody can hit the thumbs up button real quick and the notification bell, I'd appreciate it. 1, 2, 3. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, notification bell, please hit that, and go ahead and please type the Black Power in the chat if you once you're done. All right, so Anthony, I see you in Dallas. Okay, so let me just jump into this conversation. So Lebron James is getting a lot of shit right now from a lot of people all around the world over a situation involving the NBA and the Chinese government. The Chinese government is interesting because they are not a pure democracy. They're not a democracy at all. They're a communist country, theoretically, right? Theoretically. Now, I've taught in China. I've visited China a couple of times. I've taught a class in China. One of the conclusions that I have with China is that China is a little bit like the United States in one specific way. They say that they're one thing, but they're really something else. The United States, for example, in the United States, we say we're a democracy, but we're not. We're really more of an aristocracy. You can't call yourself a democracy when rich people are running your government. You can't call yourself a democracy when you allow the Democratic Party and other just elites to suppress voices that you don't want to hear. Because there's so much injustice in this country, it's ridiculous. And a lot of these people that are mad at LeBron have nothing to say about any of those injustices. They don't have nothing to say about black kids being shot up on the south side of Chicago. They have nothing to say about the fact that black people have endured all kinds of crazy discrimination for the longest time, redlining, won't even want to pay reparations. You up here talking about you advocate for social justice. You need to get the hell up out of here with that nonsense. Just go away, you hypocrite. China is also interesting because China says we're communists, but I can tell you they are deeply committed to free enterprise. To be a communist country, they all about that paper. They all about that dollar. They know the political power that is embedded in commerce. They know the political power that is embedded in economic prosperity. They know that the government officials maintain their power primarily because the Chinese economy has taken off so quickly. It's going so strongly. It's going to be the strongest economy on earth. If it's not there already, it's going to be there. Now, why do I bring all that up? Well, because at the end of the day, the other thing the Chinese do, and the Americans understand this as well, is they understand probably better than the Americans do concepts related to something that you and I talk about a lot with Dr. Claude Anderson called powernomics. Powernomics is basically this idea that money can be used as a way to achieve your political. The United States loves to use their military. You can use money, or you can pretend to be a democracy and pretend to use votes. In America, we don't use votes to achieve democracy, because if you did, you wouldn't have Hillary Clinton forcing Bernie Sanders out of the Democratic primaries. You wouldn't have had the Electoral College out voting the American public. You wouldn't have a Congress that probably 90% of the American public wants to impeach. Again, I'm not saying you should or shouldn't want to impeach Trump. That's fine. I mean, I don't care if he gets impeached or kicked out or whatever. Impeachment is not the same as removal from office. No president's ever been removed from office due to impeachment. But if you want to get rid of Trump, I don't care. But I say we also get rid of Congress. Tell me if you agree with me. I think we should impeach all them motherfuckers. I think every last one of them bastards in D.C. that ain't getting it done, that's spending more time fighting than getting things done, needs to go, right? Every single one of them. Tell me if you agree. Every single member of Congress, if you're spending more of your time fighting the other party than you're spending serving the American people, you need to take your ass home because you're petty as hell and we ain't got time for that shit because we got things to do. Our country's infrastructure is falling apart. We can't build a high-speed rail because y'all can't get it together. You got people out here struggling. You got people out here in poverty. You got wealthy people hoarding money while poor people are struggling. You got all these problems in your country and you can't fix the damn problem because you're too busy making sure that the other guy is blamed for the problem. So I say impeach Congress. So why bring that up? Well, because this idea that we live in this glorious, beautiful democracy is a bunch of bullshit. We don't live in a democracy. We live in an aristocracy. We don't even live in a meritocracy. We live in a country that, don't get me wrong, I believe America is a country that's filled with opportunity. So let's just be clear about that too. If you think that America's a place where you don't have opportunity to improve your life, I don't agree with you at all. But this idea that we're this sort of glowing example of democracy that consistently possesses the moral high ground on the rest of the world and has the right to go into other people's countries and tell them what to do, y'all need to get over that. That's not true. You've got problems in your country and you're not addressing those problems, but you want to act like China's the only country that's got an issue. Now, do I agree with China's position on Hong Kong? No, I do not. If I was in Hong Kong, I'd be out in the streets. I'd be burning stuff down. I'd be fighting like hell. I'd be like, what the hell, man? Y'all are not going to extradite me to China. That's the whole issue. The whole issue involves extradition of Hong Kong citizens to mainland China for crimes. If I was in Hong Kong, I would pick that battle and I would never stop. I'd be out there in the streets marching with everybody else. But here's the deal. I'm not Chinese and I don't live in Hong Kong. And there is something to be said about this idea called the mind your own goddamn business doctrine. How about this? The mind your own damn business doctrine says that it's okay to respect national sovereignty and to say, you know, they got that fight over there. That ain't always our fight. That ain't our fight. What LeBron James basically is saying, LeBron, people are mad at, a lot of white folks are mad at LeBron right now, trying to like cancel LeBron and all this other stuff because LeBron won't take a position on the fight between China and Hong Kong. And, I'm going to tell you, MYOB, thank you very much, DDS. LeBron is basically saying, like, look, man, I pick my battles. I ain't picking this battle. It's like when he's on the court, LeBron comes down the court, he might see an opportunity to drive the lane and take a shot, but there may be times where he says, you know what, I'm not going to take the shot. I'm going to pass the ball over to Anthony Davis, let him take this shot. I'm not picking this battle. I'm going to rest for a minute. I don't want to, I'm not going to take on every fight that there is out there. That's what LeBron is saying. LeBron's saying, look, I work for the NBA. The NBA has a significant financial price that will be paid if I speak on this China issue. If I talk about China in a negative way, the NBA stands to lose tens of billions of dollars, and that's going to mess up my paper. That's going to mess up my situation. And I'm not saying that there are no issues that are worth tens of billions of dollars to LeBron. I'm not saying that there are no issues where he wouldn't pick up that fight, but there are some situations that ain't got nothing to do with him, and that's what he's basically saying, and it's his right to say that. If you believe that we live in a country that honors freedom of speech, then you should understand LeBron has a right to have whatever position he wants to have. Like, and in fact, people try to, white folks, mostly white folks who out of touch people are basically saying, oh, you compare yourself to Muhammad Ali, you can't hold, I think I saw Michael Rappaport and his old raggedy ass say something like, you can't hold Muhammad Ali's jock strap. And I'm looking at him like, actually, bro, if you recall, Muhammad Ali was the one who basically said, ain't no Viet Cong never called me nigga. So I think that LeBron's new statement should be, ain't nobody in Hong Kong never called me nigga. Ain't nobody in China never called me nigga. That's my fight. That's my battle. I'm not going overseas with you to go fight a battle in Asia that ain't got nothing to do with the people I love and the people I care about. The battles I'm choosing are the battles that belong in the hood. The fights I'm taking on are not going to be white liberal fights. They're going to be black fights, right? So because that's what happens to so many black celebrities. They get hijacked. They get politically hijacked by white liberals who say, well, no, we don't want you to talk about racism. We don't want to deal with that. We want you to talk about climate change. Don't talk about kids being shot in the hood. Ain't nobody talking about that. Ain't nobody talking about all the little black boys that died this month in the hood. No, we want you to talk about whether or not LGBT members can use the same bathroom. We want to piss in the men's bathroom. So we need you to talk about that, and we need you to get ferocious about that, LeBron. And LeBron might be like, you know what? No, man, use whatever bathroom you want. Y'all go fight that fight. But while y'all fighting that fight, I'm going to go back home and I'm going to fight my fight. I'm going to fight the fight that belongs to my people. I'm going to fight the fight that matters to me. LeBron is every bit of a social activist. He's as much of an activist as he's always been. And the thing about it, and all of y'all understand this, even the people who disagree with me understand this, you cannot, on your job, take on every battle. You can't. You work in a Taco Bell. You can't be protesting at work every day or your black ass will be fired, right? Taco Bell would not want you on the job every day getting mad about every little thing that happens inside that store, right? You fighting for midgets. You fighting for LGBT. You fighting for this. You fighting over that. They're going to fire you, right? So basically, LeBron is like, man, this is not important enough to me for me to take on this issue. Right? This is not something I'm interested in. This is something that where the financial cost of this issue is so great that I really don't want to. I'm not going to die on this battlefield right here. This ain't the battlefield I want to die on. And what the liberals are doing is pay attention now. Pay attention, because this transcends to every other political arena that exists out here in this country. What the liberals are doing is they're basically saying, the Republicans are the ones who said shut up and dribble. The liberals are the ones who saying we own you, Negro. We own you. We built you. We brought you in this world, and we can take you out. That's what they say, because in their mind, they see themselves as like the parents of LeBron. They see black people in a very patronizing sort of way, or paternalistic. That's the word I'm looking for. Paternalistic. Like their idea is, well, wait a minute. The things that matter to us are supposed to matter to you, and the things that don't matter to us aren't supposed to matter to you. That's why when you go to Hollywood, you see all the Negroes jumping up and down, like, the Billy Porters and the others jumping up and down over LGBT issues because white folks gave them permission to talk about that. They'll jump up and down over the environment because white folks gave them permission to talk about that. But ain't none of these people showing up in no hood, nowhere in any city with little Chicago, where the black male unemployment rate for men between 20 and 24 years old is between 40 and 50%. And them showing up for none of that. Even your buddy Barack Obama, the ultimate black liberal, even Barack Obama don't care. It hasn't said a word, not one word. Show me where he said one word about all the black kids that were shot on to within 2 miles of his house while he was in the White House. He said there was one little girl that got shot in a park, and he mentioned that. Outside of that, nothing else. Now, I'm not dissing nobody. I'm not attacking them. I'm not forcing them to take on battles they don't take on. But basically, they're doing with LeBron. What they're doing is they're taking on what actually, unfortunately for them, becomes an incredibly hypocritical position. Here you say that you are a country that respects democracy and freedom of speech, but you not respect LeBron's right to freedom of speech, right, and freedom of expression. You're also not taking into consideration that most of us, if we have a job, then we must represent the interests of our employer. Sure, you can have freedom of speech if you don't work for the NBA. It's easy for you to say, oh, well, go lose $10 billion for Hong Kong, right? Because that's not your $10 billion. That's not your business. That's not your job. That's not your company, right? But many of y'all, I'm telling you, many people who might disagree with this, if you go to your job and somebody says, well, you work for Exxon Mobil. I had a friend, no, this is a serious story. I had a friend who went to go work for Exxon Mobil, and she was making all this money at Exxon. And I remember saying, you know what Exxon, they had that spill, and you know what they're doing to the environment, don't you? And she was like, yeah, but that ain't my fight. I'm not picking up that fight because that's gonna mess up that's too close to home. You don't shit where you eat. Or like Biggie used to say, don't sell no crack where you rest at, right? So don't bring no drama to your mama. Don't bring no problems where you live and where you get your money, or where you are supposedly sustained and protected, right? So with LeBron is basically, look, I'll fight that. I'll fight some battles over here. I'll fight some battles over there. But this battle, not only do I not care about it, but it's incredibly costly. So I'm gonna step out of this. Y'all got this. Good luck to you, right? So the other interesting thing to me that's fascinating about all of this is that people that are criticizing LeBron, what I think is the best defense is a good offense. So all the people who have something negative to say about LeBron, I would challenge them to do this. Why don't you come out and fight? Where are you on the reparations fight, and how much have you spoken up about reparations? Black people get discriminated against on the job. Give me a yes or no. How many of you in this chat right now have endured some sort of racism on the job? How many of you have been victimized by the racial terror that occurs on the job? How many of you have been hit by a racial predator on your job? Meaning you had a job and you were working for a white guy, probably looked like Donald Trump, and they said some more racist stuff in the job, and you even tried to complain, and everybody ignored you. Nobody heard you because you're not a white woman. You ain't got white woman tears for sale. So nobody paid it. How many of you have endured racism on the job? Raise your hand. Okay, I see a lot of me's. I see Seymour and I saw Vicky Dillon in there. I see Mama Zeke. Okay, so this is a serious problem. This is like bigger than the Me Too movement, in my opinion, because it's unaddressed. I would ask these people, how many of you have taken a stand and lost millions of dollars to fight racism that black people experience on the job? I would ask them, how many of you have taken a stand and lost millions of dollars fighting to save all these little black babies that are being shot up in the hood every day? How many of you have spent millions of dollars helping all the black children that are not being educated in these public schools, helping us build black schools? We got great schools out here like Freedom Home Academy International that can't raise any money and educate black children. LeBron built a motherfucking school. So fuck you and the horse you rode in on. I'm sorry, excuse my French. I don't mean to cuss this morning, but y'all know I got to tell it like it is. Fuck you. LeBron built a goddamn school for black people. How many schools have you built, Michael Rappaport? How many millions of dollars have you put into solving the problems that LeBron is solving? So here's the deal. Here's the point. If a man is getting up every day and he's playing basketball, you can't get mad at him because he don't want to play football. Basketball is taking up his time. He's exhausted. He don't want to play football after he's done playing basketball. LeBron is a man who has taken up social justice initiatives in a specific area. And the reason I love this brother and I will fight for him till the wheels fall off is because LeBron has chosen, just like all celebrities choose their little issue. They choose their lane. LeBron's lane is black people. And I ain't mad at him for it at all. I love him for this. I love the fact that LeBron has taken on a problem that won't be solved in 4 generations. It won't be solved in his lifetime. And he's dedicated all of his power and his fame and his wealth and everything else to helping solve that problem. And so I don't understand why these people even think that they own him to the point where they can tell him what issues he has to go to war on and which ones that he can sit out on. This is y'all shit. If y'all want to go fight for Hong Kong, then go fight for Hong Kong. Ain't nobody stopped you. Ain't nobody told you what you can and cannot say on your Twitter account. Y'all can tweet all day about Hong Kong, but if this man LeBron says, you know what, I'm gonna stack my chips, I'm gonna save my political and financial capital, I'm gonna go raise $1 billion over in China so I can take some of that $1 billion and put it back into the hood, fighting to help NCAA athletes. He's fought to help NCAA athletes get paid. He's built that school. I mean, he created that show that's representing the perspectives of black men that you don't hear anywhere else. I mean, the man is out here fighting battles every day, and how dare you act like he's not a real activist because he's not running up behind white people grabbing onto whatever issue they drop in his lap. Man, let that man do what he wants to do. That's his life. It's his choice. It's his decision. By the way, that is what democracy and freedom of speech is all about. That's what freedom of speech is supposed to be about. It's not about fascist oppression of anybody who disagrees with you. But unfortunately, the liberals have forgotten that in the midst of all of their nasty bullying. So they got a lot more in common with China than they might think. Now, anyway, do me a favor, guys. Please hit the thumbs up button, share, and subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. please do that. Vicky Dillard is in the chat. If y'all don't go to FlyNubianQueenTV.com every day at 6:30 when she does her show, you don't know what you're missing. Go to FlyNubianQueenTV.com and subscribe when you get there, and check out Vicky's analysis of a lot of issues. Vicky is she's the queen of all things. She's on top of it. She is one of the most extraordinary people I've ever seen. So I want to just give a shout out to my sister Vicky Dillard at FlyNubianQueenTV.com. Y'all got to go check her show out. She is literally setting the world on fire. So anyway, hit the thumbs up button, share, and subscribe button. Also, don't forget, I'll be in New York next week, October 27th. If you want to come to the New York event, it's an investment seminar. We're going to spend 8 hours talking about investing, how to invest in the stock market, how to build family wealth. We're actually going to make a big announcement in the next couple of months. We're making a deal behind closed doors on a way to create massive amounts of Black investment clubs. And I'll tell you guys more about it once I make sure is there and the infrastructure set. I will hit you guys up. Investment clubs are a key to wealth. Let me tell you why that's important. There's a guy who he would have his buddy, and they would talk about starting, getting together and investing together. And they had read something about, how wealthy people pull their money together, and it allows them to go and buy real estate and stuff like that. And they kept talking about it, and they never did it. And then one year, after about 10 years of talking about it, they finally did it. And when they did it, they pulled their money together. They just saved up. They also learned a lot, and they met once a month as an investment club. Well, here's what happened. This is exactly what I've told you guys, because you guys know I'm a finance professor, so I know this stuff really well. What happened was, when they had this money, when people knew that they had stacked up this capital, good business deals were coming to them. People wanted to bring them in on opportunities to make money, because they're like, oh, you got capital, we need capital, right? Or there's this building here, the normal price is 100,000, but we can get it for 40. So, you guys have 40,000, right? And so they literally, all of them became millionaires by basically pulling their money together and working together as a group. So what we want to do, one of our big major plays in the Black Business School for the Black community, because that's the problem we're solving, is the Black Wealth Challenge, is we want to see if we can create hundreds, if not thousands, of Black investment clubs around the country and provide a protocol and template and process for you to pull together with 20 to 30 people or more and actually create LLCs around investment. So you can go to your hood, buy abandoned buildings. You can have a little Shark Tank in your community where you have people come by and say, tell you their business ideas, and you can decide to invest or not. You can invest in the stock market and all these other things. So I'll let you guys know more about that, but this is one of the things we're doing at the investment seminars as well. So you guys will have a precursor to some of that, but by the end of the year, that's the direction that we're going in the Black Business School. So I want to make sure you guys know about that. So if you want to come to New York, go to drboycenewyork.com. Also, if you want to list your Black-owned business, we're building a directory right now. You can go to theblackbusinesslist.com. That's theblackbusinesslist.com. Register your business so that we can create a searchable database so that other Black people can find Black businesses and keep their money in the Black community. Last but not least, if you want financial flashcards or workbooks for your children, feel free to go to financialworkbooks.com. That's financialworkbooks.com. One of the things you should learn about China, if you want to pay attention to this whole thing with LeBron and China, what you're watching right now is you're watching powernomics being played on a very high level. What's really happening is the Chinese, basically they believe deeply in an issue that you would call national sovereignty. It's basically the mind your own business protocol. Their belief is we will spend our money with you if you don't get in our shit. So with China, they used to always say, in business with China, they would say you avoid the 3 T's. You avoid Tibet, you avoid talking about Taiwan, and you avoid talking about Tiananmen Square, where they had that crazy massacre back in 1989. In fact, if you go to China and you Google search the Tiananmen Square massacre, it will not come up in fact, Google won't even come up. But in their search engine, there's nothing in their search engines about that Tiananmen Square massacre in 1989. So they're real interesting in terms of really understanding the power of their dollar and saying, if you want our money, then it's going to have to be by our rules. If you don't follow our rules, we'll give our money to somebody else. Now, do I agree with that entirely? No, but there is something to that in the sense that they, rather than dropping bombs on you, they're going to put economic pressure on you. That's how they roll. So right now, Hong Kong has become the big issue in China. And in China, they're basically like this. Look, they have a few things Black folks can learn from. Number one, they are unified like a motherfucker. They are incredibly unified. They will, when the Chinese government said we have an issue with the NBA, all the vendors, all the corporations they were doing business with, all these companies basically suspended their relationship with the NBA. It was really amazing to see that much national unity. It's very scary and interesting and to observe, but it's very powerful. The NBA immediately balked. The NBA immediately folded because the Chinese came with so much strength that they had to respond to that. Obviously, it comes down to this sort of battle of democracy versus communism and freedom versus non-freedom. And also, I personally don't believe either country is all that free. The United States pretends to have a lot of freedom, but a lot of freedoms we think we have are really actually illusions. You know, again, like I said, if we lived in a pure democracy, and you'd be able to get rid of Congress. In fact, let me ask you guys this. I think I asked this earlier. Maybe I didn't. I remember bringing it up. How many of you, if you could get rid of Congress tomorrow and start over fresh, how many of you would do that? Give me a yes or no. If you could get rid of Congress right now, would you do that right now? Give me a yes or no. Because I bet you that a lot of you would get rid of Congress right now if you could. And so ultimately, if you lived in a democracy, you'd be able to do that. Right? But you can't do that. Why? Well, because the money is what's controlling all of this. It comes back to the economics. So as much as we want to criticize China for their very almost bullying kind of approach to using their money as a way to secure political power, the United States is kind of the same way. And what's interesting is that the difference is, you know, I almost would compare China to the United States is almost like the difference between a hooker and a gold digger, right? A gold digger ain't gonna call herself a hooker, but she's kind of just a hooker with another name, right? Like you're trading sex for money, right? A gold digger and a hooker. Y'all come for y'all feel what I'm saying? Like I had to use real examples to help you understand it. Y'all know how I teach finance. I like to connect it to real world stuff. Everybody know what a gold digger is, right? So America's a gold digger who says, at least I'm not a whore. And China's kind of like the whore who's saying, we got the same job. Like we're in the same profession. Like, what are you talking about? Like you're doing the same thing I'm doing. You're just mad because I'm telling everybody what I do. I'm telling everybody, what my profession is. You're lying to yourself. So the United States and China, that's what I'm really seeing. I'm seeing a gold digger and a hooker arguing over which one is the bigger hoe. And at the end of the day, you know, it's just a couple of hoes fighting in the street over money. But that's what hoes do. They fight over, you know, gold diggers and hookers, whatever, right? No disrespect to anybody who took offense to that analogy, but y'all know I got to keep it honest. So and hopefully that helped bring the concept home for you. And so really, at the end of the day, I think that this situation, the way it's going to probably go, is the NBA is going to be quiet. Because again, with all this talk about freedom of speech and all that, we don't have thorough conversations to understand this thing about America. One thing about America is that freedom of speech is not allowed for everybody. You do not have freedom of speech on your job. If you work for a company and you go tweet crazy things about that company, you will be fired. And also, freedom of speech is costly for America to the point where we're in denial about how much our greed, our capitalist greed, has undermined our democracy, right? So what's going to happen, the reason China is going to win this battle with the United States and the NBA is because China is more committed to suppressing democracy than the United States is committed to defending democracy, right? China's like, we know who we are. We're communists. We're not afraid to admit that, and we're not afraid to pay a big price to protect that. The United States is like, well, we're a democracy, but sometimes, unless it's too expensive and it costs us money, right? So the United States does not have the resolve to go head to head with China because China has, number one, a deeper commitment to their line of thinking, their way of life. Also, China has more unity than the United States. The United States does not have a lot of unity. In fact, causes political problems as a country. So let me go, guys. It looks like we're almost here at the airport. So I'll see you guys soon. Love you. Hit the thumbs up button, share button, notification bell. Don't forget, I'll be in New York October 27th. DrBoyceNewYork.com if you want to come out. Also, I got to hit up from Charlemagne. I think I'll be on the Breakfast Club next week. When I go on, y'all know me. I'll probably live tweet it like right before I go on or whatever. So if you want to follow me on Instagram and kind of follow the experience, feel free to follow me on the gram at The Real Boyce Watkins. So feel free to go to The Real Boyce Watkins on Instagram and follow. And don't forget to check out Vicky's show at 6:30. I see Vicky Dillon in there. I want to make sure I shout out the queen that's here because without strong black women behind us, we can't succeed as black men. It's not possible. So find some black women you appreciate and always tell them how much you appreciate them. So take care, guys. Have a good day. I'll see you soon. Peace.